This elderly lady was taking one last walk in the forest when she came across a strange cat. What happened next was even stranger, and what she did was totally unbelievable. Vera was taking a final walk through the woods. What was her favorite pastime was now a painful exercise. She was leaving town against her will and had decided to say goodbye to the forest she had grown to love. Vera's steps echoed through the woods, each one carrying the weight of nostalgia. The once vibrant village of Tarbagatay, nestled in the heart of Russia, now faced the looming shadow of urbanization. The once bustling streets echoed with laughter were now replaced by an eerie silence. Residents like Vera found themselves in the clutches of change, forced to bid farewell to the tranquility they once knew. As she walked along the familiar paths, the elderly woman's eyes glistened with unshed tears as she recalled the days when Tarbagatay was a haven of beauty and simplicity. Life was slower, and the air was filled with the sweet scent of unity. But the winds of change had blown through, scattering the threads of connection. The youth, enticed by the allure of big cities and opportunities, departed one by one, leaving behind a void in the once content village. And then, the echoes of war had swept through Tarbagatay, claiming the vitality of the village as the Kremlin's mobilization took hold. Vera's 4 sons, like many others, became unwilling participants in the national call to arms. She had been devastated when the news came that 3 of her sons had died. The once full home now resonated with the haunting silence of loss, an ache that permeated every corner. Months later, a flicker of hope emerged as one son returned. Though not unscathed, his body bore the scars of battle, a testament to the harsh realities of war. With a heart heavy from both mourning and relief, Vera's son sought solace in the big city, where his own family awaited. And in the meantime, Tarbagatay found itself abandoned. Its buildings crumbled into disrepair. Vera was one of the last people who still remained. A week ago, her neighbor, grandfather Micah, passed away. His departure left Vera at the age of 88 as the only inhabitant of their shared street. The realization of her solitude lingered in the creaking of his empty house and in the quiet streets that once bustled with the energy of community. Upon learning of Micah's death, Vera's only surviving son rushed to her side. He couldn't bear the thought of his mother navigating the desolation alone and insisted on bringing her to the city. However, Vera remained rooted to the land she had tilled for years. Her farm held the imprints of her labor, a testament to her resilience. Despite her son's persistent pleas to join him in the city, she clung to the familiarity of her surroundings. The sprawling fields, the modest farmhouse, and the memories embedded in every furrow of the soil anchored her to Tarbagatay. As her son pressed upon her the urgency of leaving, Vera found herself torn between the city's embrace and the village that cradled her memories. After much convincing, she reluctantly agreed to leave after one last pilgrimage through the familiar woods. Lost in thought, the elderly woman did not notice the creature before her until she stumbled on it, and its sudden cry pierced through the quiet forest. The unexpected encounter jolted Vera out of her contemplative trance. As she regained her composure, she found herself face to face with the strangest cat she had ever laid eyes on. The color of its fur was strange compared to the darker hues of the Russian cat she was accustomed to. The intensity of its color, a fiery red, captivated her gaze. Though she was an elderly woman with a lifetime of experiences, she had never encountered such a peculiar feline companion. The cat, with its striking appearance, looked up at her with eyes that seemed to hold a depth of understanding. Its meow resonated with a pain that tugged at Vera's heartstrings. Unable to resist the allure of the creature, she stooped down to pick it up. To her surprise, the cat displayed a calm demeanor as she cradled it in her arms, purring as she ran her fingers through its fur. There was an instant connection between the two. Deciding to take the cat back to the abandoned town, the elderly woman's worry intensified. As the familiar outline of the village loomed in the distance, a new concern gripped her. Who would care for this creature once she left? The village, now devoid of residents, offered no assurance of sustenance for the cat. It faced the looming threat of starvation, a fate that weighed heavily on Vera's compassionate heart. Vera's dilemma deepened as she considered her options. Traveling to the city with the cat was out of the question. Her son's wife and child, residing in the urban expanse, suffered from allergies. Bringing the feline companion into their home would pose a danger to their health. Leaving the cat in the village, however, felt like a sentence of abandonment. The deserted streets offered no solace or sustenance for the creature. It would wander, alone, navigating the remnants of a once thriving community, searching for scraps that no longer existed. It would be a cruel destiny for a creature that had found solace in Vera's arms. As she approached the outskirts of the town, the weight of responsibility pressed on Vera's shoulders. The cat, nestled against her, seemed to sense her internal struggle and appealed to her sense of compassion. Vera sighed. She needed a miracle, and she needed it fast. But unbeknownst to her, fate had one more surprise in store. Suddenly, the woman saw a figure emerge in the distance. A young girl who seemed out of place in the abandoned village was walking towards her. Taken aback by the unexpected presence of another human, Vera halted in her tracks. For days she had grown accustomed to the silent company of the forest creatures, finding solace in the whispers of the wind and the rustling leaves. The sudden appearance of a fellow soul, particularly a young girl, stirred a mixture of surprise and hope within Vera. She didn't remember ever seeing her around, which was strange enough, considering that the inhabitants of her village could be counted on the fingers of a single hand. Seeing this encounter as a stroke of good fortune, she approached the girl. Their eyes met, and Vera decided to initiate a conversation. She asked the girl about her age, and upon learning that she was 16, Vera seized the opportunity fate had presented her. She explained her predicament, the involuntary move, the cat in her arms, and the desperate need to find someone to care for the feline companion. The old woman begged the young girl to take the cat into her care. The urgency in her plea mirrored the depth of concern for the creature she had come to cherish in the quiet of the abandoned village. She shared her story, laying bare the circumstances that led her to this moment, hoping the girl would understand the gravity of the situation. Vera had always thought herself good at reading people, but the face of the young woman in front of her remained remarkably still and devoid of emotions throughout their conversation. However, she accepted the unexpected request. She took the cat into her arms, her fingers gently stroking its fur. Relieved to see the cat welcomed by another kind soul, Vera felt a bittersweet emotion envelop her. The transfer of responsibility, though necessary, tugged at her heart. But then, to the woman's astonishment, the young girl burst into tears. The sudden outpouring of emotion caught Vera off guard. She instinctively reached out to comfort the girl, offering a reassuring presence in the face of unexpected sorrow. As the sobs subsided, Vera looked at the girl with concern. Gathering her composure, she gently asked what had brought forth such sadness. The girl, wiping away tears, began to share the saddest story ever. Her name was Anya, and she was from a nearby village. She was an orphan who had escaped from the orphanage in search of food. The orphanage had been abandoned by the staff, and only 6 of the orphans remained. They barely had enough to eat, and that was why she came this far in search of food, being the eldest. She loved the cat and wished she could have it, but she would not be able to care for it as she could barely get food for herself. Vera was so moved by Anya's story that she asked the girl to come home with her. As they walked home, a plan hatched in her mind, a plan that would shock everyone. As they approached Vera's home, Anya felt a mix of gratitude and trepidation. The elderly woman had listened to her plight, offering a rare sense of understanding and compassion. Upon entering her home, Vera's son Ivan looked up with surprise at the sight of his mother, accompanied by a young girl and a cat. Then, the old woman motioned for them both to sit at the kitchen table. The atmosphere in the room held a tension that hinted at an impending revelation. As they settled into the modest living room, Vera began to share Anya's story with her son. The words spilled out, carrying the weight of the young girl's struggles and the dire conditions faced by the remaining orphans in the abandoned orphanage. The scarcity of food, the persistent hunger, and the desperate quest for survival painted a bleak picture. Ivan listened intently, his eyes reflecting a mix of surprise and concern. The gravity of Anya's situation weighed heavily on the room. Determined to forge a new path for both Anya and the village, the elderly woman laid out her plan. She wanted to bring the 6 children from the abandoned orphanage to live with her. The shock on Ivan's face was evident as he grappled with the unexpected proposition. In a calm yet resolute manner, Vera explained that her big house and farm could provide sustenance for all of them during these trying times. This way, she wouldn't have to abandon her beloved village, and in the process, she would be extending a loving home to the orphans and the beautiful, strange cat. Ivan tried to persuade his mother to reconsider. The city, with its conveniences and modern comforts, seemed like the safer choice. However, Vera's heart was set on a path of compassion that defied the conventional expectations of their abandoned community. After some time, Ivan realized that his mother's decision stemmed from a genuine desire to make a positive impact. She hadn't been able to protect her own sons from the world, but life was now giving her a choice to save other kids from a terrible destiny. The kindness in her intentions began to resonate with him, and he decided to support her unconventional plan rather than trying to change her mind. Excitement filled the air as Anya led Vera and Ivan to the abandoned orphanage. With a newfound sense of hope, the girl introduced Mother Anne's son to the other children. They owned very little and didn't need much time to consider Vera's offer and pack. Upon their return to his mother's house, Ivan rolled up his sleeves and joined the effort to settle the children into their new home. The atmosphere buzzed with activity as the big house, once quiet in its solitude, became a place of shared laughter and newfound companionship. The children, initially cautious but curious, quickly warmed up to Vera's kindness. The mysterious cat, now affectionately named Liska, became an instant source of joy for the young ones. Their faces lit up with smiles as they showered love on the newfound feline friend. Days turned into weeks, and the big house became a sanctuary for the makeshift family. Vera, with her years of wisdom, provided guidance and warmth to the children. The farm, once tended to in solitude, now echoed with the sounds of shared labor and laughter. As Ivan observed the unfolding scene, he couldn't help but marvel at the unexpected turn of events. What had started as a chance encounter with a strange cat in the forest had blossomed into a transformative chapter for his mother and the abandoned children. As he prepared to return to the city, he couldn't help but feel a sense of pride in his mother's ability to embrace change and weave a new narrative for their beloved village. The once skeptical son now understood that sometimes unconventional decisions can lead to unexpected blessings. What a heartwarming story! Did you enjoy this story as much as we did? Would you rather leave your beloved village behind for the comforts of the city, or fight to keep it alive with an unusual family by your side? Share your thoughts and reactions in the comments below. Stay tuned for more extraordinary stories.